Hey, how's it going?
Oh, hey, Sarge. I'm just finishing up watching the body cam footage, and I'm working on my report. But how much detail do I need to have in this?
You need to include the information you knew before the use of force, what happened during the use of force, and what you did afterwards. You gotta look at it this way. You only get one chance to tell your side of the story for the first time. The argument is always, if it's not in the report, did it really happen? Anything you bring up later about what you did, why you did it, may be discounted if it's not in this original report. So that's very important. And by the way, John found the witness. We got his statement and a video from him.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so I know I need to cover the who, what, when, where, why, and how, but what else?
Well, you need to paint the whole picture. I want you to really rely on the use of force equation. The Graham factors, the officer's subject factors, and any warnings that you or your partner gave the suspect. Does that make sense?
Got it.
Okay, great. Good luck.
Officer Williams, what does your use of force policy say about when you can use force?
Our policy says we can use force when it's objectively reasonable under the totality of circumstances.
Under what circumstances can you use force?
Under PC 835A as an officer, I can use force to effect an arrest, overcome resistance, prevent escape, and defense of myself and others.
So, officer, I have your report right here in front of me. Please tell us, why did you deploy your taser during the arrest of my client?
Well, it started with a radio call, which indicated the suspect was reported to be violent and had a history of resisting arrest. My partner and I actually knew this suspect from a prior incident, and we were close to the location when the call came through. My partner and I arrived on scene, and we saw a male and female fighting in front of a residence. We saw the male had blood on him, and the female had a knife. Once she saw us, she took off on foot. Well, the foot pursuit was brief, and it was a residential neighborhood. The suspect took off. She had a knife in her hand. There's an injured victim in front of the house, so we started chasing her, giving her verbal commands to stop and to drop the knife. We continued chasing her. She rounded a home, at which time we had our guns drawn, saw her try to get over a fence, which she was unsuccessful at doing. And my partner and I kept our firearms on her. He gave her command to drop the knife, which she did, and I ordered her to turn around, which she did. We didn't see any other weapons in her waistband, but we didn't know if she had any. And we kept ordering her to get down on the ground and to not resist us.
Why did you tase the suspect?
Given the totality of the circumstances and knowing the history of the suspect, she had a knife in her hand, she'd already hurt someone, and the fact that she ran, we went after her. She then took a fighting stance, then put her fist in front of her chest, like this. Now, Officer Bancroft was covering her with his firearm, so at that point I holstered my gun, and I told Officer Bancroft that I transitioned to my taser. Both Officer Bancroft and I were giving commands to get in the ground. I warned her that if she didn't get in the ground that she was going to be tased, but she kept coming toward us. At that point, I deployed my taser. She fell, landing on her stomach. Officer Bancroft and I then moved in to restrain her. I took the top mount position. Officer Bancroft secured her legs. She continued to physically resist. At one point, she grabbed my leg, and I told her to let go of my leg. After a short struggle, we were able to gain control of her. After that, I called for medical aid and requested my supervisor.
Using the taser was an intermediate level of force. When can you use that force option?
I can use intermediate force when it's objectively reasonable under the totality of the circumstances. For intermediate force like taser deployment, there must be active resistance and a threat. As a peace officer, I can use force to effect an arrest, overcome resistance, prevent escape, and defense of myself and others.
Oh, okay. I have no more questions.
How'd I do?
Great. It all started with your detailed report and being able to clearly articulate what happened.